Transmutation by George Washington Carey. Part 4. Reading and Comprehending the Book of the Dead, the Zohar, the Talmud, the Torah, and the Bible. Speaking of the Zohar, the following quotation is well worth remembering. Woe to the man who sees in the Torah only simple recitals and ordinary words. Because if in the truth it only contained these, we would even today be able to compose a Torah much more worthy of admiration. If we find only the simple words, we will only have to address ourselves to the legislators of the earth, and to those in whom we most frequently meet with most grandeur. It would be sufficient to imitate them and make a Torah after their words an example. But it is not so. Each word of the Torah contains an elevated meaning and a sublime mystery. The recitals of the Torah are the vestments of the Torah. Woe to him who takes the garment for the Torah itself. The simple take notice only of the garments or recitals of the Torah. They know no other thing, and they see not that which is concealed under the vestment. The more instructed men do not pay attention to the vestment, but to the body which envelops it. We need not be reminded that the Torah is the Pentateuch, or the 5 first books of the Old Testament, which is attributed to Moses. But as we shall discover more and more as we proceed, the original text of the Holy Book has been corrupted, and the newer Bibles especially do not resemble the original Bible at all. Through the ages, scholars have added and changed words and created new interpretations that carried meanings vastly different than intended by the original Bible. This was done to avoid explaining things that could not or were not to be explained. The Talmud says, whoever translates a verse in its closely exact form is a liar. Properly interpreted, this means it cannot be literalized. An oral explanation of its hidden meaning is required. A magical formula in the Egyptian Book of the Dead reads, Patar Rafsu. It occurs more than 30 times in one chapter alone, and that chapter is called The Gospel of Faith. Patar Rafsu means, let him explain it. Patar is to show, explain, or interpret. Su means more than just him, however. The Su was the royal scribe, the interpreter. He was known as the, quote, soul sage or enlightened one possessed of science, end quote. The Hebrew Maturjman, or interpreter, fulfilled the same office. He was the keeper of the secret wisdom that was only communicated orally, the voice of the unwritten word. Tertullian, one of the earliest church fathers, said, quote, when a thing is hidden away with so much pain, merely to reveal it is to destroy it, end quote. That is why a special language was needed when teaching the kind of knowledge that is contained in this book. And that is also why I could never have been the sole author. We all stand on the shoulders of those who came before us. I would like to think that one of my teachers was from a line stretching to the remotest antiquity. Were he to have left this world without passing on the knowledge he accumulated over a lifetime of intense research, it would, in all probability, have been lost forever. We who are committed to transmitting the truth have had to make an immeasurable journey into the past, a journey that has to be made by everyone, eventually, for the further we can look back, the more we will expand our mind. It is a law of evolution that the less developed brain cells are the oldest in structure, reckoning from a beginning. The knowledge in the present work, which we can call, quote, the gnosis, end quote, directly affects those brain cells. If this were a book of simple prayers or just wise sayings, it might find a ready audience. But as we shall see, it is no such thing. Consequently, those who will recognize it as, quote, a pearl without price, end quote, are very few. And that is the reason why so few copies have been printed from now. So, dear reader, begin to read the Bible with the keys that will be given to you in this text. This work has taken me 25 years of hard labor to write. I have tried to find the honest and true meaning that exists in the Bible and all the ancient religious literature that I know of. The ancient Egyptian texts, the Greek and the Roman mythologies, the books of the Old and New Testament, the text of Buddhism, Islam, and other religions of the world all give the discerning reader one fundamental truth, which is, man can become immortal in the physical body. This is the greatest of all the guarded secrets of the ages, and it is the hidden teaching of alchemy at its most advanced stage. A person following certain methods, which I will endeavor to explain in this book, can become immortal. In other words, such an individual can become the Messiah and fulfill the biblical prophecies. Each of us has this potential, which epitomizes an individual's freedom to the highest degree. In the realization of this freedom, the individual achieves perfection. Those who would rather sit back and wait for perfection, that is to say, those who wait to be saved, will not be worthy of being saved. When humankind ceased to undergo the processes of alchemy, the possibility of perfection was lost, and man remained in a state of imperfection. Their offspring, too, remained imperfect, and this failure to advance to a higher plane of consciousness was inherited by his progeny and continued to pass down from generation to generation. Today, everyone is born imperfect, but you are not told that you do have the potential to obtain perfection, the perfection of your physical body. The achievement of this pearl, without a price, does not come as you might expect. However, and as you will discover later on, it is not through spiritual work, prayer, meditation, suffering, or self-denial. This is not a new method or a new discovery. It is what all religions talk about, but without giving you the explanation that I'm attempting to convey. Through the centuries, the Bible became little more than a storybook, instead of the scientific manual that it was originally intended to be. Now, through understanding the knowledge that was lost, you can focus on the true meaning that is hidden in all genuine religious books. This knowledge will lead you to the revelation of the secrets of your physical body and its ultimate potential. End of part 3. Watch the playlist for part 4. The houses or the signs of the zodiac in the 12 tribes of Israel. Love yourselves and love each other unconditionally. Help support the channel. Go ahead and subscribe and click the bell to the right to make sure that you receive all new notifications. Share on your own social media platforms and consider donating with one of the links below.